Hi guys, welcome back. Thanks again for logging onto this channel, really means a lot to me. Okay, so what do we start? Okay, so I suppose the main thing I'll put forward for this last week and probably last 2 weeks is about communication to and from patients. The interesting thing I've had last night, for example, is from this wonderful elderly couple. Now, communication at the best of times can be quite difficult depending on the language, backgrounds, belief systems, who's in the right, who's in the wrong, understanding situation, there's too much chaos around, or the communication's so vital in our job, and it often goes overlooked as an important part of being an ECA or in any job, to be honest, paramedic or otherwise. Now, when that communication is then, let's say, questioned, or no, what's the word I'm thinking of? When that communication isn't the way you're expecting it to go, things can get really tricky. So last night we had this elderly couple. We had a call to say this lady had fallen and bumped her head, and she was bleeding from her head, which is okay, not nice, but okay, we can deal with that. We get in and we find this lady has been deaf and dumb since birth. She's married to a deaf and dumb gentleman as well, who sadly also has quite advanced dementia, and luckily they had a next door neighbour in. We, as in a crew, didn't know any British Sign Language, and of course with the COVID and masks, it was very difficult to communicate with. So from a distance, we had to bring down our masks and mouth out all of our conversation to these people. And it was incredibly difficult because this poor chap, he didn't know what was going on. Bless him, he was trying to help because there's a little bit of blood on the head and everything else. It wasn't too bad. It was okay, superficial wound. But he was trying to get in the way, and he kept on calling out, the way because he can't hear himself and he can't vocalize any words. He's trying to say something, and I felt so sorry, and I felt so, I just felt for him, that he was trying to explain what happened. He thought it was his fault. It wasn't his fault. But because of the dementia as well, it became very, what's the word I'm thinking of? Very confined in that area, which we had to ask and politely sort of move aside. This is when you call upon people around them, i.e. the next door neighbour, say, could you help us by moving members away from the area which we're trying to work in. That gives us a bit more clarity what's going on. We can hear what's going on, and we can deal with the situation straight away. So if there's people around, use your communication to say, right, can you do this, can you do that? And that makes them feel that they're doing something, which is great. If people feel that they're standing there doing nothing and they want to help and they can't help, then the frustration comes through. So giving them a little job, like, could you go and make a cup of tea, or could you go and help this chappie sit down and just try to relax him, and and to just try to make sure he's okay, and then he can see that we're helping his wife, who also can't speak or can't hear, so. But it was really it was fine. I was absolutely fine, but away from the situation, it was quite comical in a way where I was trying to mouth every single word I could. And I don't know, but I know now. Now, if I get this wrong, I'm really sorry. I know now, I think, that the word in British Sign Language to say "don't worry" is by making that both hands together, because I'm holding the phone, both hands together on top of each other, making no or don't, and then both hands either side of your head, worry. So "don't worry," I believe, is the British Sign Language is saying, don't worry. So if anyone knows anything different, please tell me, because I'm hoping I was doing it right. But yeah, it was lovely, and she's fine. You know, the patient's fine. We put her into, we got into the ambulance and took her to the hospital just to check her over, because she had a blood thinner as well. And always with a head wound and an elderly person who's on a blood thinner, it's always best to check them over in hospital, because, you know, they could be bleeding internally. Even as a tiny little cut, you know, there's still trauma as some kind to the head. But yeah, she was fine. We checked on her later on, and her husband still thinks that, you know, where's she gone? What's gone on? Is she making the cup of tea? She's going to be making the bed for him. So it was lovely. It was absolutely lovely. But anyway, I thought about to check you up on that one, and yeah, that was probably my best highlights of the week, really, with this elderly couple. Okay, stay safe, everyone. Drive carefully, and I'll catch you later on. Take care. Bye bye for now.